The Westminster Study Bible intends to be a Bible for the humanities classroom. Of course, it'll have other uses as well in various ecclesial settings, but the classroom is kind of the place where students and instructors and the text will gather together and talk about various things related to the text. It's an attempt to appreciate both the culture of the Bible and the culture that is inhabited in the bodies in the room. So it's an opportunity to engage multiple cultures in this classroom setting in which we find ourselves. And so lots of questions will be raised, lots of conversations. The notes will help guide some introductory and relevant information. The excurses will open up opportunities for engagement around lots of various issues, both in the ancient world and for contemporary readers. And there are also essays in the back of the Bible, essays that really kind of start to show you how this Bible can function in a classroom. So for example, the Bible in art, or the Bible in music, or the Bible in literature, the Bible and science and the environment, and a variety of others. So lots of opportunities in which the Bible will, along with readers and teachers, the Bible will kind of inform those classroom settings. Some of the unique features that the Westminster Study Bible will have will be over 200 excursuses that run throughout both the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, and the New Testament, and the Apocrypha. And they're planted in various places, closely attached to passages that might address what is going on. So for example, ancient slavery in Israelite culture will be in Exodus and in Deuteronomy. And then we have a comparative piece on slavery that'll show up in Paul's letter to Philemon. But these will be short, 400 words or less, excursuses that tackle a specific topic and then might do so in a variety of ways. It might ask the readers to take a theme and go deeper into that theme in the ancient context. It might ask a reader to use the excursus in such a way to think about how the Bible has functioned throughout time periods. So the excursuses are really one unique feature of the Westminster Study Bible. Another unique feature are the 15 essays at the back of the Bible. And these will allow readers and students and all kinds of interpreters to think about how the Bible functions in relationship to art, the Bible in art, or the Bible in literature, or the Bible, science, and the environment, or the Bible and the canon, or the Bible in music. And so just lots of ways that the Bible has influenced culture and the ways cultural settings have influenced the ways we interpret the Bible. So there's kind of this really interesting fusion of these contexts. And these essays, many of these essays will tackle some of those concerns. So that is a unique feature of the Bible. We envision that the Westminster Study Bible will be used is to take this book as, in many ways, a textbook. We imagine that many of our instructors will use it as the primary textbook. Some of our instructors, of course, will choose to supplement the study Bible with an introduction to the Bible more broadly. But some of our instructors will take the Bible that we have, the Westminster Study Bible, and use it as the primary textbook. So in that spirit, one of the things we've tried to do was to write very careful introductions to each book of the Bible, which will allow the instructor to give an introduction to the readers and to their students, and also to take very seriously that the notes that are written at the bottom of the page are investigating, describing, explaining exploring all kinds of things that are happening in the biblical text above. And we hope that the instructors will make use of those notes. We know that the readers will, because as they read along, there will be all kinds of questions that they have as they come to particular questions about, well, what place is this? Where are we? Who's this character? What's the main theme in this story? So the kinds of questions that readers will be asking, we hope that in many cases that the notes will address those concerns. And then we hope that the instructor will then fill out, give more content in classroom settings when they have opportunities to, in their lectures, in conversations, to explore those study notes, the biblical texts, and the conversations that are raised by that engagement. When we began this project, one of the things we thought a lot about was how many of our instructors are people who have to teach introductory classes to the Bible who do not necessarily have training like many of our editors and contributors. That is, they might be trained in theology, they might be trained in ethics, they might be trained even in some of our universities and other areas and other religious themes and practices and disciplines. And yet they too are asked in some of our settings to teach an intro to the Bible course. So we took very seriously that many of our instructors, not all, but many of our instructors will not actually have kind of the tools of the trade in the discipline. And so our notes are frequently attempts to both help the reader, but also kind of help the instructor, especially those instructors who may not have disciplinary training, to think about what might be some important themes to wrestle with, what might be some important characters to stop and highlight. The other thing that we thought about with instructors, we feel quite confident that the instructors will take advantage of the introductory essays at the beginning of the book that allow a broad, kind of general introduction to the Bible. And before each section, before the Hebrew Bible, before the New Testament, before the Apocrypha, we have introductory sections that will allow our instructors to lay out important themes that are necessary for an introduction of this kind. And then we hope that our instructors will, actually, we were very intentional with the number of essays at the back of the book. We hope that instructors will take the semester-long syllabus, and perhaps many of them will actually have an essay that they read each week from the back of the book. The Bible in art one week, the Bible in music another week, the Bible in literature another week, and so on. And use those essays as moments of engagement to kind of step outside of the Bible and to think more holistically about the function of the Bible in wider culture, in wider conversations. We recognize that not only with many of our instructors who may not have disciplinary training, that there will be many students who may not come from a religious background, may not come from churches and synagogues. So they may have less familiarity with the Bible as a collection, as a whole. And so these students too will be encouraged to not only read the biblical text, to pay attention to the notes that are trying to give some sense of commentary, so to speak, a sense of comments around some of the cultural issues, but then also to recognize how the Bible has functioned more broadly in Western culture in particular, in ways that might not force them, but encourage them to think about broad conversations about the Bible. So we hope that these students who may not have religious background will actually be kind of invited to the conversation in many ways. So there's another essay in the back of the volume, The Bible in Global Context. So we recognize that even outside of the West, the Bible has major function and has influenced, and other cultures have influenced the Bible. So we hope that these will be opportunities for really rich conversation inside the classroom setting. What excites me most about the Westminster Study Bible is this collection of folks we've been able to bring together. we were very intentional about including contributors, Christians and Jews, all experts in their various respective areas, people who are disciplinary experts in the biblical world, biblical text, biblical context. And many of them, a majority of them, actually teach the Bible in introductory classrooms, undergraduate settings, graduate settings, seminaries, in church context, in Jewish synagogues. Many of them teach the Bible in a variety of spaces to a variety of audiences. And so one of the things that really excites me about this volume is how this collective came together. And we feel very confident that the product, that the not just the biblical text in this new translation, but the study notes that refer and are engaged with the biblical text, and then the excursuses that show up over 200 times throughout the collection of the Bible, and then the essays in the back of the book, the introductory essays to each book, that this will all inform really rich conversations around the Bible as readers and instructors engage the Bible together. And part of what really excites me is a real intention to this new updated edition. So lots of our contributors will engage this new translation with a history and awareness of not only Hebrew and Greek. All of our biblical contributors have experience in Hebrew and Greek, but also with other English translations. And so they understand when something like, let's take the word doulos in Greek, which can be translated as slave, or it can be translated as enslaved, or it can be translated as enslaved person, or it can be translated as person who is enslaved. So our contributors will be wrestling with something like what the nrsv-ue presents with that term, which is most often translated in this new translation as slave, but occasionally is also translated as enslaved. Our contributors will be wrestling with that English translation in light of a history and awareness of English translation usage around that term. Whereas the Old King James Version, for example, doulos was often translated as servant. And now English Bibles have started to move away from that. So the study notes will wrestle with all kinds of examples like that. And it should enrich the experience for our readers. It should enrich the classroom. It should enrich engagement between readers and teachers. And it should enhance the use of the study Bible going forward.